was all those welding in a flat position.
Instead of actually running it to find out if it's going to hit anything. Sheet like that. And that's the actual part making it, but without the machine moving.
I mean, it's about half the size of that one.
Thank you, guys, and thank you everybody for coming out here. I was having such a wonderful time that I forgot I was supposed to speak also. But I'm glad you're here. I'd like to welcome everybody to the J. Addams Resource Corporation Training Center and our celebration of our expansion. I am Gary Smith, and I'm the chairperson of the Jarc Board of Directors. And I wanted to say a few words about what we're doing here tonight. Tonight, we're here to celebrate. We're celebrating the renovation and expansion of our center, and we're celebrating the partnerships that have made it possible for us as an agency to scale our programs and to scale their impacts. And I thank each and every one of you that are here, friends and colleagues that have made all of this possible, as every one of us here is a partner. Jarc helps low-income job seekers and community residents attain self-sufficiency through skills training and holistic bundled services. Our programs target strategic skills gaps in the manufacturing sector, specifically CNC machinists and welders. Our target industries and occupations offer family-sustaining wages, benefits, and authentic career paths. Our training center, the center we're in today, the expansion, is the final objective of our agency's last strategic plan. This was a critical infrastructure project that increased our manufacturing space by 30% and is going to cause us, not only 30% size, but it's going to cause us to be able to double our capacity with welders before the end of this fiscal year. It is exciting. It is exciting. At this point, I want to thank the three principal funders of this project. Specifically, I'd like to thank the Harry and Jeanette Weinberg Foundation. I'd like to thank the City of Chicago, the Small Business Improvement Financing Program, SPIF. And I'd like to thank our real estate affiliate, the J. Addams Development Corporation. Now, everybody's been here and been around for a while, and you've been talking to people, but so therefore I assume you've already seen that we've had people stationed to talk to you about what we do and how we, our training processes, manufacturing processes, our training and the like. But specifically, there's one person I'd like you to speak to. It's Juan Del Castro, and he will be able to tell you, if you're interested, what our next steps are to obtain industry accreditation for this training center. So thank you, Juan. Since 2011, since January 2011, Jarc's career in manufacturing program have trained and placed over 200 graduates in 122 firms throughout the entire Chicago metropolitan area. Jarc provides customer work training for these companies and other companies, both here at the center and at the sites of the locations themselves. Our training programs work because they're aligned with demand and opportunity in the manufacturing sector and in the regional labor market. Employer engagement is critical in this process. Jarc trainees work because of our synergistic training with our Center for Working Families. And Jarc's Industry Advisory Council helps ensure that all of its programs and curricula are industry-related and employer-driven. So, without further ado, so I can get off the stage, I'd like to welcome Tammy Phillips of the Howe Corporation, who is the chairperson of Jarc's Industry Advisory Council.
Thank you, Gary. It's been a real pleasure serving on the advisory council. The Jarc staff is very passionate and dedicated to their mission. And I'd like to start by recognizing the other advisory council members who are here tonight. C. Creeters, Dudek and Bach, Friedman Seating, K&C Machining, Howe Corporation, Lincoln Electric, PK Tool, and S&C Electric. Howe Corporation is a woman-owned manufacturer of industrial refrigeration equipment since 1912. And as the VP of Finance, I intend that we're in business for another 100 years. And with partners like Jarc, we can achieve that. We first met Jarc through the Alliance for Illinois Manufacturing. We now partner with Jarc for all of our entry-level hires as well as training classes for our existing workers. We're extremely impressed with Jarc's attention to detail. They come out to our plant and take a tour. They talk to our supervisors to make sure they have a solid understanding of the type of candidates that we're looking for. Our average employee tenure is 21 years, with several of the guys being over 30 years. So we're not simply looking to fill a position, we're looking for someone to join the Howe family. Howe Corporation recognizes that in order for Jarc to continue to deliver these qualified job candidates, the employer partners must do our part to support Jarc's workforce initiatives. This year, the Advisory Council has focused on the training center expansion, the follow-up goals of obtaining the NIMS accreditation for the training center, and an employer survey that many of you probably received. With the completion of the construction, Jarc has placed an order for 4 additional welding machines and a second air filtration system. Please consider making a cash donation to support the purchase of these additional machines. With a small donation of $500 to $1,000, we can be well on our way to getting several other businesses to match those donations generated here tonight. And now I'd like to introduce Guy Loudon, the Executive Director of Jarc.
Thank you, Tammy. And thanks to all of our manufacturing partners. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for your support and your imprint on our programs. We'd also like to thank our government, our many government, foundation, and community partners that are with us here tonight to celebrate. Workforce development and manufacturing are very much, again, at the center of the national conversation. Tonight, we're pleased and proud to welcome senior staff from the following members of the Illinois Congressional Delegation. We're joined tonight by staff members from the offices of U.S. Senator Dick Durbin and U.S. Representatives Tammy Duckworth, Mike Quigley, Jan Schakowsky, and Brad Schneider. So a big part of my job is to work on the policy advocacy end. And I know I speak for a lot of people in this room when I say I appreciate your engagement and leadership on jobs and workforce issues. I have a longer list of thanks to get through, so maybe hold the applause until I get through. But we're also joined by leadership from these partner government agencies, the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership, including our featured speaker, Karen Norrington-Reeves, City of Chicago Department of Family and Support Services, the Illinois Community College Board, and Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Development. We're joined by many of our partners from the foundation and philanthropic community, the Chicago Foundation for Women, the Communitas Charitable Trust, the Fry Foundation, McCormick Foundation, Polk Brothers Foundation, United Way of Metropolitan Chicago, and Wider Opportunities for Women. And finally, we are joined by many of our outstanding community partners, the Alliance for Illinois Manufacturing, Austin Come Together, Benevolent, the Calumet Area Industrial Commission, CARA Program, Chicago Citywide Literacy Coalition, Chicago Jobs Council, Chicago Women in the Trades, Country Financial, DuPage United and Career Connect, the Emergency Fund, Industrial Council of Near West Chicago, Inspiration Corporation, Literacy Works, the Local Initiative Support Corporation, Manufacturing Works, National Able, the Safer Foundation, Summer Corps, and the Tech Center of DuPage. So seriously, the opportunity to address so many of our stakeholders in one setting is just precious, and we want to say thank you, not only for your support, but your wisdom and your shared vision, and for the role you've played in the evolution and innovation of the agency and its work. Thank you. So as Gary mentioned, the training center expansion punctuates the last strategic plan. So tonight's celebration of partnership and growth marks the perfect time and place to announce the release of the agency's new strategic plan. The new plan will focus on 3 initiatives. Number 1, the agency will identify and adopt the best strategies for scalability, including geographic expansion and/or replication. Number 2, Jarc will build upon the previous strategic plan by deepening the synergy between its Center for Working Families and sectoral models. And third, Jarc will expand its public profile through improved marketing and communications, with particular attention to the scalability and integration efforts that are at the heart of this plan, as well as communicating our workforce policy agenda. Middle skills gaps in the manufacturing sector continue to outstrip our combined efforts as a workforce system. Unfilled job vacancies are a barrier to economic growth and competitiveness, and a tragedy when unemployment remains so high. The plan has a 3-pronged approach to scaling the capacity and impact of our training programs. Number 1, we will continue to grow vertically here in Ravenswood in our expanded training center. We will continue to work with the partnership and AIM and Manufacturing Works and others to address skills gaps. Number 2, we will expand our geographic presence in the Chicago metro region. The planned Metro West Manufacturing Workforce Collaborative is an example of this perspective. Jarc will partner with AIM, Career Connect, and others to replicate our careers in manufacturing programs in Western Cook and DuPage. And third, we will replicate our best practice models in partnership with other agencies. An example of this perspective is our collaboration with Chicago Women in the Trades to replicate our Women in Manufacturing program on Chicago's West Side. So there is substantial continuity with the previous strategic plan. You'll recognize the familiar themes of quality, synergy, and sustainability as integral motivations and measures of the plan. But that said, it is a much more audacious and global vision. The agency wants to help build the larger workforce system, of which we are a small, but we think important part. And so to the communication piece, we think that we can be thought leaders, Jarc, and us in this room, its partners in this room. We can work together to identify and share best practices to have an impact beyond our present small scale. So with themes of systems change and scalability and impact, I cannot think of a better segue to our featured speaker. We are deeply honored tonight to welcome Karen M. Norrington-Reeves, Chief Executive Officer of the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership. Appointed by Mayor Rahm Emanuel and Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle, Karen oversaw the creation and launch of the partnership in July 2012. In this capacity, she is working to reform and revitalize the public workforce system in the greater Chicagoland area. Welcome, Karen. We're so pleased to have you tonight.
Thank you, Guy. I'm so excited to be here. As the staff know, I came out about a month ago and toured the space and got so excited that I'm ready to try my hand in welding and CNC machining. No, you laugh. So I'm actually going to come back and do a crash course, and not just me, but our entire staff are going to be invited to come in and actually do a crash course. We deal with workforce development every single day, and if we're going to be good advocates and good stewards of the programs, then we actually have to know what's happening on the ground, and I cannot think of a better place to actually have that experience than right here at Jarc. So first I want to say thank you for inviting me out this evening, but I also want to thank your staff and your trainees. This has been a banner year for Jarc. You've had at least one visit to the White House, yes? And let me tell you how memorable it was. So last week I was in Washington, D.C., and I was at the National Association of Workforce Boards Conference and had an opportunity to speak to the acting Assistant Secretary of the United States Department of Labor. And he said to me, "Oh, I know you, you're my Chicago girl." He says, "You know, not long ago, we had Guy Loudon from Jarc." I kid you not, he remembered you, and he said it. And so it warmed my heart to know that there's recognition for the work that's actually happening here. So first and foremost, I bring you greetings from Mayor Rahm Emanuel and Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle, who could not be here this evening. As I said, this has been an absolute banner year, and not only did you have a White House visit, but they also got national media coverage. You all aware of that? National media attention drawn to this center of hope and opportunity in the heart of Chicago. And the reason I talk about hope and opportunity is because you mentioned that there have been 200 graduates since 2011. It's not just 200 graduates. So it's 200 graduates, all of their family members, and all of the people that they touch, that they interact with every day, all of the companies that they help make a difference in, and all the products that they actually put into the stream of commerce that would not be there but for the work that you all do here every day. So I want to congratulate you and acknowledge that work. I think it's absolutely important that not go unacknowledged. So our relationship with Jarc is that the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership serves as the administrative agency for federal employment training dollars within the region, in addition to accessing other funds to help us support other employment training initiatives all over the place. We actually fund 49 different agencies, and Jarc is one of them, and we're very excited to have them on that roster. So let's talk about how hard it is to get in that list. We had 140 plus applications by 80 some odd agencies, and 48 got awards through that process, and Jarc was one of those, so hats off to them for that. And I suspect that process will grow even more competitive every year. For me, coming here and actually touring this space, and you all can't see the welding bays actually set up, they've kind of folded everything up, but touring this space, and not just the bays, not just the CNC machines, but to see the CAD operations, to see what's happening with the computers and how you're taking this kind of theory with the computers, but then putting it into practice with your hands, touching actual machines. To me, Jarc is at the intersection of innovation and pragmatism. So you've got the innovation piece, and we all want to look at advanced technology, but I heard someone say, actually about a week ago, I was at another conference, Lord have mercy, and the gentleman talked about his experience in architecture, and how they had these classes, and everything was all on the computers, but the kids couldn't actually chart and plot anything on a graph. It couldn't draw out schemes because they had been working on computers. They had never had the practical experience of putting pen to paper and actually having to do calculations on their own. And so what you get here is that hands-on practical experience that prepares you for the real world and prepares you to be an asset to the companies that you're going to join. So again, hats off and kudos for that. And there's also that intersection of information technology and manufacturing, which is so critical as we move into advanced manufacturing and really being an asset and meeting the demands of our regional businesses. So you talked also about scalability. So one of the things that I had written down to speak about was that we need more Jarcs, or we just need an expansion of the Jarc that does exist. Right. Because with that comes more opportunities for advancement, and with that comes greater economic development in our region. And I'm not just talking about the businesses that will benefit from having a skilled workforce. What I always say whenever I speak to crowds, people talk about economic development and workforce development as though they exist in isolation, and they don't. Workforce development, and my staff can say this with me, is the cornerstone of economic development. I say it all the time. Without jobs, without skilled labor force, without individuals going to work every day, they cannot come back and support their communities and contribute to their local economies. And we cannot meet the demands of our businesses. Jarc and all of the other agencies out there who invest their time in this thankless work. It is thankless. So tonight is a big, big, big deal, because just like teaching, I'm also a former teacher, you don't really know how well you've done with your end product until many, many moons down the line. When your students reappear and tell you the great stories about their work experience is when you really get that satisfaction. When they land that job and then you hear from the employer how successful they are within that job and how they've moved up because of the foundation that you've given them, that's when you really get the benefit of the experience, because it's not for pay, Lord knows that, right? And it's not necessarily for all the kudos. It's because you know you've made a difference in someone's life. So for that, I want to congratulate you. I want to encourage the scalability. I want to talk about how we get you in other areas and expand your operations, because it's so desperately needed, not only for our businesses, but for our communities to thrive. So Guy, thank you for all of your sacrifice. Thank your team, and thank you to all the trainees who have taken a chance on this little engine that could, who are doing a great job for us. Thank you all.
So thank you, Karen. In closing, three things. Number one, please take with you an advanced copy of the new Jarc strategic plan as you leave tonight. So those will be on your way out, but don't leave too soon. Go back to those million good conversations. Number two, we hope to see all of you at the evening, the annual Jane Addams Resource Corporation Evening of Opportunities, Friday, June 13th at the Chicago Symphony Center. And third, just in closing, I want to thank my board, my great board, and wonderful, wonderful staff. I am truly the luckiest person in this room. It's just wonderful to come here every day. Thank you.